a little background before we get into it. So Super VR, if you're in the chat, you know what it is. It is OG perennial showcase VR game. It is one of the top 5 that when somebody tells you, hey, I want to try VR, you list off a few games: Beat Saber, Super Hot, Lone Echo. These are games that someone's going to start with first. In this game, at certain times in the game, it would ask you to prove your worth, show your dedication, and discard your body, which in that game, what that meant is put a gun to your head and pull it. And that was a game mechanic. On July 21st, so just a few days ago, the developers made a change and released this following statement, which I'll read verbatim. Skip disturbing scenes toggle was added in a previous update. Considering sensitive time we're living in, we can do better than that. You deserve better. All scenes alluding to self-harm are now completely removed from the game. These scenes have no place in Super Hot virtual reality. We regret it took so long, and we are committed to shipping this update to all VR platforms. So, you could imagine what happened, everybody. I don't think it's any secret. It got review bombed. Now, the topic of Super Hot getting review bombed, and if they deserved it or not, is not what I want to speak about. That is not the news that I care about. The news that I care about, actually, I think it's actually a really, really good example, and them doing this raises 10 other better discussions than is this SJW politics, is this okay? There's really big implications to this, in my mind, down the road, just from high concept even to practicality. The first thing I want to bring up is the review bombing aspect of it, and I'll tag Blast in on that. And Victoria, this will be the topic I want to talk about first. We need to define review bombing. I feel like whenever a game developer, something makes a choice that the general public is not happy about, it gets reviewed. And every media outlet calls it review bombing. Victoria, to you, what is review bombing? Is people voicing their opinions on something actual review bombing, or is this what reviews are meant to be for?
Yeah, see, that's a tricky subject, because, and this is anecdotal, but between me and all of my friends, we only review things when we have an extremely passionate opinion either way, whether it's extremely positive or extremely negative. Now, I feel that for as many people to go out of their way to actually write a review, they must feel extremely passionately about that. Now, is them as a group going to do this right or wrong morally? I mean, it really depends. Do you think that people should not voice their opinions if it's negative? Should we engage in toxic positivity? I mean, this is toxic negativity, you know what I mean? But it's a spectrum, right?
Yes.
Like, which way do we want to go?
We don't have many options. So as a consumer, it's like, I'm a consumer, you're a consumer. If a choice is made on something that we've purchased that we're not happy with, you have 2 options. Sit down on it, grin and bear it, take it, or you voice your opinion. If voicing your opinion is what you choose to do, I really get a distaste in my mouth calling it review bombing. Because review bombing, when I read that as a headline, implies that it's unfair. I don't think anyone specifically, like UploadVR, used review bombing in an article title. In no way did they allude that it was negative. Full benefit of the doubt there. They never said it was negative. They just are using the term. But the term and how it's used in the headline is immediately a negative spin. Like that is entirely unjust. I am not a fan of the review bombing because I think the topics are a little more nuanced than just black and white. However, I think they are entitled to give their review. The game has changed. Their opinion has changed. Whatever the reason, you don't need to agree with the reason, but they have a change in mindset and they will now review the game differently. It's not review bombing in my mind, and I'm really over the phrase review bombing. I don't have to agree with them doing it. I don't agree with it, but it is their voice. They have a change of opinion on the game. We need to change that term because it shouldn't be negative. It is a review based on a change of a game. That's all it is. And I think that's an important distinction to make. It's something that my viewers, people on Twitter who I interact with, I think it gets lost in this sometimes on the bad versus good. It's not bad versus good. It's much more different, and the game was changed. They're going to change the review. I think that's fair, personally. But
I do as well. I mean, I'm a game developer and a gamer. right? So as a lazy gamer, as I said before, I have to be extremely passionate either way in order to even go out of my way, right? But as a game developer, if I have that many people giving me the same feedback, I'm going to listen in some type of way. Maybe, not bring it back into the game exactly as it was, perhaps bring it back as some other kind of downloadable feature that you could get somewhere down the road. But at least, give people the option, because obviously they voiced that they wanted the option.
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone who is consistently suicidal myself, and you know this. I am a sad bitch. So for me to say this, it's kind of a big deal considering the subject matter that they removed from the game. But I still think that if the player wants it, we should give it to them as developers, maybe not generally, but yeah.
I think Flame Souls made a great point right now, and it's also something I was thinking about. He says that only negative reviews get called review bombing. It's no different than positive reviews on release. If it's good or bad, newer updated reviewers will come. And something to think about. So when let's go back to earlier OG Steam VR days. When a Steam VR game launched in early access, the community would demand or ask, we want this, we want that. No different than Larcenauts right now, where people wanted manual reloads and wanted things like that. The reviews changed when the developers added what the community wanted. And in droves, the score of Larcenauts at launch went from 3.5, I think it's about a 4.2 in the Oculus store, give or take a 0.1 or 0.2 there. It changed due to a change the developers did positively. Now they do something that the community didn't like, it gets bombed. Like we said, I don't know if I fully like the tantrum of review bombing it in droves to prove a point, but at the same time, the developers now made a change. If it was a positive change, they probably would have got new positive ratings. It was a change people didn't like, they get negative. Cut the shit on review bombing being a negative term. It is just a negative term because it just happened to be, it went down at that time. But hell, they could have put in another page that just said, hey, we're going to put all the most sensitive shit in this game and you can do whatever you want. It could have got review bombed positively. It just depends how you spin the term. You know what I mean?
100%.
In my opinion, the game isn't worth a 1 star based on this decision, but I'll fight to the death for your right to change your 1 to 1 star. I don't care. It's your right. Hit that subscribe button to stay on top of the daily clips, or catch the debates and fireside chats live on the main channel down in the video description. See you next time, Space Cowboys.